Another edition of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, holds with the large presence of captains of industry. The annual gathering hits its 21st edition, resonating the current economic challenges bedeviling the nation. The NESG, formed in 1996 as a platform for public-private sector cooperation in Nigeria's economic development, has over the years played a role of engaging government to formulate and implement policies and foster open and continuous dialogues on Nigeria's economic development. For 2015, the summit is themed Tough Choices, Achieving Competitiveness, Inclusive Growth and Sustainability. The welcome address by the chairman of the group is riveting, touching almost all facets of the economy, with particular consciousness on the downturn. Mr. Kyari Bukar says the country fell by 7 places from 120 to 127 out of 144 economies in overall global competitive index, blamed on the cost of lower oil export.
This summit represents 21 years of annual dialogue of key issues facing the Nigerian economy. The NESG continues to feel proud of the achievements of the group in the past 20 years of its existence. The group has played an important role of engaging government in advocating for formulation and implementation of policies that stimulate the growth and development of the Nigerian economy. I would like to draw your attention briefly to the last 2 summits, which focused on specific issues. The 19th summit developed key recommendations and outcomes to reposition the agriculture sector as a business to diversify the economy, while last year's summit focused on education with a theme of transforming education through partnership for global competitiveness. This year's summit is particularly significant for 2 reasons. The country has witnessed a transition to a new administration following a successful election process, with change being the mantra and focus of the entire country, and the current dynamics of the national economy that requires urgent attention and solution. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, continued its downward turn on the overall Global Competitive Index, GCI, as the country fell 7 places from 120th to 127th this year out of 144 economies. The reason was largely on the back of weakened public finances as a result, of course, of lower oil prices and export. Considering the basic requirements sub-index, which is actually one of the critical components of that GCI, we fell 4 places from 136th to 140th position in 2015. Comprises of institutions, that's 129th. Infrastructure, we were 134th. Macroeconomic environment, we featured 76th. Health and primary education, we were second to last at 143. this remains weak, with insufficiently protected human rights, high corruption, and undue influence. Furthermore, we are not harnessing the latest technologies for productivity enhancements, as demonstrated by the low rates of ICT penetration. However, Nigeria could continue to benefit from its relatively large market size, that's the demographic dividend, which bears the potential for significant economies of scale, a relatively efficient labor market driven by flexibility and solid financial market, following its gradual recovery from the 2009 crisis. However, poor availability and affordability of finance in general, especially to the SME sector, and difficulties in obtaining credit, in particular, we were 137th, remains significant bottleneck to economic growth.
First, Mr. Frank Aigbogun, who is a publisher, Business Day Media Limited. Mr. Aigbogun, please. The CEO of the Chair Center Group and the first female chairman of First Bank, Mrs. Ibukun Awushika. And now, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
And straight to the first plenary session, the Presidential Policy Dialogue, perhaps the most important for investors all seated here. Major issues challenging the growth of the economy must be tackled, and the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is up for questions by the two representatives, probably speaking the minds of their colleagues in the private sector.
Mr. Vice President, Nigerians indeed are beginning to put significant weight behind pronouncements of government. They're beginning to think that this is a government, your government is a government they can trust. The President made a broadcast on October 1, and where I was, I saw people clapping, I saw people standing, as we will do when our football team scores a goal. Even in America, Obama says the President is a man with integrity, and some other world leaders say he's a man with whom they can do business. We congratulate the government, because indeed we see the huge trust deficit beginning to dissipate. But Mr. Vice President, don't you think that the absence of the President at this forum, the largest and the highest forum for dialogue between the government and leaders of industry and business, will somewhat agitate some Nigerians who would have hoped and expected that the President would be here to speak from his heart and to lay out very clearly the kind of partnership that your government desires with captains of industry.
Thank you very much, everyone. And let me first apologize for the President's absence. The most important consideration here, though, is that I am designated to supervise the economy. That's my remit. And I think that really informs my being here. And I'm going to be here not just today, but also tomorrow. So I think that, that really is it. I mean, I would seriously expect that what Nigerians want to see is serious performance, serious action. And they want to see those who will be held responsible for anything, taking the questions and preferring the policies. And that's exactly what I'm here to do.